Right. Okay, John. Welcome to the lesson programming. And in today's lesson, we're going to learn about control flow statements, mainly control flow statements. You have a rough idea about what are control flow statements with pseudocodes. But anyways, I will be covering how to do them in Java, right? So just like I've been mentioning, like the more features that you learn in a programming language, the more things that you can build and the more tasks you can handle and you can build advanced programs. So out of that, one is this one, control flow statements. You're going to properly learn how to write if conditions, switch statements, while loops, do while loops, and for loops. So once you learn how to do these things very properly, you can take control of more programs. Okay. Right. So basically the control flow statements, we will see what are those things and how we're going to do them, right? So this is I will put it like this. You can see this is the classification. So control flow statements are used to change the sequence of execution within blocks. Within blocks. I will be explaining that with the code because don't get much confused what do you mean by a block. In Java, when you take a Java program, children, right, whatever it is, right? So these opening closing curly braces are there, so which is called a block of code or a segment of code, right? So usually you will be having these kind of things when you're writing if conditions and other stuff, right? Okay, so control flow statements are used to change the sequence of execution within blocks, right? So give it an example. I'll just show you a small example before we go there. Let's say we will be again talking about this. Let's say a person is having marks for a subject and you write in Java, if conditions can be written. We have written this one in uh, pseudocodes, so that is why I directly took it here. There is no then in Java. I will be teaching how to write the syntax in Java, don't worry. Now just observe how it works only. It's greater than or equals to 50. We want to say pass, otherwise we want to say fail. Right? I'm just explaining you this particular line. Control flow statements are used to change the sequence of execution. Sequence means the order, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are line numbers where I have written coding. So Java, if it is executing line by line by line by line, once it comes here, what actually happens is the value of marks is getting compared here because it's true. Marks is having the value 75. 75 is greater than or equals to 50 is true. This part is true. This condition is true. So you can execute line number 9. Line number 9 can be executed. In the same time, line number 10 and 11 will be skipped. So actually the computer does a selection here whether to execute the line number 9 or to do the line number 11, right? Line number 9 or to line number 11, it makes a choice. Let's run this and see. So the output is coming as pass. That means line number 9 has got executed. Line number 11 did not get executed. Computer is choosing the path. Control flow is controlled. The flow of the program is controlled whether to do this or to do that. Let's change this to something like 45. Now what will happen is condition is not true. You will not do this. Computer will skip this. It will only select this one and it will do the work. It will show fail. See, then control flow means that control flow statements are used to change the sequence of execution within blocks. So when you say here I don't have a block, then so I can make it a block. Again, right? So here we have two lines of code. So this is a block, this is another block. If this condition is true, computer will decide this block should be executed. If that's not true, if it is having an else part, this block will be executed. Whether to do these two instructions or to do these two instructions. Not all the 4 instructions will be done at a given time. When you run the program, these 2 lines and these 2 lines will not be executed. If this is true, this will happen. If this is not true, this will happen. That's all. See, that's all. Okay, hope you understand that. Um, right, let's continue. So the control flow statements are classified like two. One is selection statements, so an example which I showed you now. Where selection statements, we have two things to study. One is if statements. I think we can discuss that today. If statements, simple if with else, if with else if. We have already done this one in pseudocodes. So in Java syntax, we are learning and practicing today. Then we have the switch statements. I will show you how to write the switch code. So today's main session, we're going to practice this part. Part one, we will do this one. Then in the next class, we can practice about repetitions. Repetitions in the sense executing a block, maybe a block or bunch of code again and again and again repeatedly, right? Based on a condition. That is what's going to be a repetition. So there are 3 types of repetitions in Java: while, do while, and for, or while loop, do while loop, and for loops. So I will be teaching you how to create them and how to use them as well. Once you finish this one, we can do plenty of questions to make yourself very much comfortable with this one. So the more questions that you do, more comfortable that you will feel on this topic. Okay, right. Without further delay, let's get into the subject. So first we're going to learn under if statements, simple if statement. So if we take a look at this example, I will directly come to the point. There can be an occasion when the condition, or when you do an evaluation, when you check for something, only 2 things you get. One, the what you're checking could be true, what you're checking could be not true. So if it is true, you do something. If it is not true, there are some occasions you don't have to do anything. Now here in this scenario, we are calculating bonus for an employee. So the bonus, how we are calculating is, we'll say we have the sales amount. Sales amount is 5,25,000 is here. 5,25,000 is there. Bonus is there. We have declared a variable called bonus and store the value 0 here, right? So in the next line, what we do is, if sales amount is greater than or equal to 500,000, I'm checking. That means I'm checking whether the sales amount is more than or equal to 500,000. That is the criteria. If you have to be eligible for bonus, you should have done sales for more than or equal to 500,000 sales. So if it is true, if this is true, if condition can be true, cannot be true, we don't know. If this is true, this line will be executed. The line which is next to that will be executed. Bonus is getting calculated. You can see bonus. How do you calculate that? Sales amount, whatever the sales amount that you have done, is multiplied by 0.05, which is 5%. 0.05 is there, so which means it is multiplying this value. So 5% bonus is calculated. Next line, bonus is displayed. So we will give it a try in the computer program and see, right? Okay, so let's do that. So the program will be selection demo 1. There will be 4 examples. So all the 4 things we can discuss, right? Let's say the sales amount is 5,25,000. Let's say float bonus is still not defined. So we're going to check the employee is eligible for bonus or not. Is greater than or equals to 500,000. In that case, we say bonus is equals to sales amount multiplied by 0.05 f. We know why we put the f. That's a floating point value. So 5% tax will be bonus will be calculated, and we can display the bonus amount. So I just print both values for your convenience. When I execute that, you can see 5 lakhs to 25,000 is the total sales. So he is eligible for bonus. 5% bonus have been calculated. So 26,250 they are getting as bonus. Let's change this value something less than 500,000. Now this condition is not true because 425,000 is greater than or equal to 500,000 is not true. This condition is not true. So simply this line of code is totally skipped. Line number 10 is skipped. So when you run, so it says no bonus. Okay, there's no bonus. So I told you you can make use of curly braces also here if you want. In that case, you can use like S out, congrats, because they are getting bonus. So when you run, that sales amount 425,000 only printed, bonus nothing printed. So if they are eligible for bonus, let's say you are having done this much of sales, now it says with the congrats message, it says this is your bonus, right? So if it is no bonuses, they are like now it simply prints sales amount and bonus is 0. That's how it's done. Okay. Right. Okay. So if you remove this curly braces, then please remember this line of code is not part of the if condition. So if you run that, whether the sales amount is more than 500,000 or not, this message will be printed. That's the issue. Okay. So we can make use of the curly braces like this. That's a better way to do the code, right? Okay. You can practice this now. Right. We will move on to the next part. So which is this one, if with else statement. So here you have only a simple if part, there is no else part. Now if with else part statement, you can think like this. Now when you're doing a problem solving or when you're writing a program, you can think how many options do I have? Like, for example, the same example we have taken here, pass, fail. So a person is sitting for an exam, the person can be pass or fail. Only we have two choices. Only we have two choices. So this is the perfect place where you can use if with else, that's all. So this is a simple way to do if with else part. So if you take a look at this scenario here, we have a variable called marks, value is 85. Mark we have written if marks is greater than or equal to 50, that's the criteria. Little while ago we learned it, how to write comparison operators. Same thing we are using it. That is the purpose why we learned it there, the comparison operators. So marks is greater than or equals to 50. Marks is represented 85. So 85 is greater than or equal to 50. This part is true. Because this is true, this line of code will be done, which is pass part will be printed. This will be done. And you know, selection statements or control flow statements, I told you with which path to use, it decides which instructions to select and execute, it decides. So here it is deciding, or the computer is deciding to do this particular line of code, not this one, right? If suppose the marks is less than 50, maybe it is 25, then 25 is greater than or equal to 50 is not true. You cannot do this line. Now you have an else part. Else means otherwise. Otherwise, if this is not true, what to do? Then fail part will be done. So that is the part of that program, right? So we will run this and then you can practice it. So, so it's going to be selection demo 2. Say if marks greater than or equal to 50, then you can say pass. Otherwise, you can say fail. So line number 8 or line number 10, either one is going to work. When I run now, line number 8 will work. Pass is printing. If you change that, if the condition is not true, 45 is greater than or equal to 50, not true, it's going to do the 10th line. See, fail, right? So that's the idea behind this scenario, right? Quickly practice this. Okay, let's move to the next part of this part, which is now earlier we saw simple if statement where you had only one option. If with else is used where you have two options. Either one we are choosing, this or this. So if you have more than two options, you go for if with else if statement. So there is not a restriction. You can keep on going for else if, else if, else if, else if, like as long as you have criteria to be evaluated. So this scenario, if we take where a student has scored marks, same value has been taken. We are, according to the marks that the student have scored, we are giving different grades. So distinction, merit, pass, and fail are the four grades that you can see in the program. So as we know, it's a control flow statements. None of these four lines going to get executed. Only one of them going to get executed based on the condition. So if we take a look at this scenario here, here we had if the condition is true, we do this, else directly we do the other line. In this one, the difference is first part, if same, like if marks is greater than 80, we don't know if it is more than 80, we're going to print distinction. We're going to print distinction. Why I said I don't know, because marks here I have just typed 85, but in a real scenario we're going to input that from the keyboard. Okay, so once the mark is input, so if it is more than or equals to 80, we should display distinction, and this rest of the else part should be skipped. This won't be done because that's the style of the, what do you call, the selection style program, how it, that's how it works. Then we will assume the marks is something else, right? So I prefer to code this one and demonstrate, then I can change and do it, right? Give me a second, then I'll do it, right? So it's going to be selection demo. uh, Watch this. If marks greater than or equal to 80, it's a distinction. We say else, we can't directly type merit, simple pass, or fail, because anybody who is scoring less than 70, there are different ranges, because more than 70 is a merit, more than 60 is a pass, less than 60 is a fail. There are three other combinations or three other criteria to be checked. So else you can leave a space here itself, you write if, then you write the second criteria, but to be tested, marks is greater or equals to 70. In that case we'll say it's going to be a merit. Now if that is also not true, let's say it's a small value than 70, then we can again write else if that is also not true. We're going to say marks is greater than or equal to 60. It can be true, cannot be true, we don't know. Then in that case we say it's a pass, simple pass. Finally, else, because all the three options gone, the final option is fail, because any value which is less than 60 is a fail. So you don't write else if marks less than or equal to 50, 60, you don't have to write like that. Okay, so that is how the code works. So now when you run this, distinction will be the output. Now the output is distinction. So let's change this value to 70. Now when it is 75, see 75 is greater than 80, here it is not true, so this part cannot be done. Code will come here, then it checks 75 is greater than or equal to 70. Yes, this is true, this is true. So the line number 10 is executed. Line number 10 is executed, which is merit will be output. Then this part will be skipped. This part also skipped because the condition was not true. It checked but it didn't do. Here we check this is true. Then because out of these given selection statements, only this can be done. All the others going to be skipped. When I run, output will be merit. There we go. merit. Then what we do is, here we will change this again like 65. Now this condition is not true, else if we'll check 65 is greater than 70, this is also not true. So this is not true, not true. Else if marks greater than 60, this part is true. So you can do this part. So pass will be the output. Okay, pass is the output. Now let's assume we have scored a very poor marks like 35. So 35 is greater than 80, not true. Greater than 70, not true. Greater than 60, that is also not true. Then there is final else part is there. That is the only part which is left. Now anything which is less than 60 is a fail. Whether it is a 59 or it is minus value, we don't, not minus value, 0, it is going to be a fail. So that is why we write like this. So when you run that, output will be fail. Okay, output will be fail, right? Okay, so that's the idea, why it goes wrong like that, right? Okay, so I'll give you time for you to practice this quickly. Okay, I'm going to do a small modification to this program, and I'm going to discuss something a little bit closer to, or a little closer in the sense a little bit uh, closer to real life, right? Okay, now what if the value of marks that we enter here, next class I will teach you how to take the keyboard inputs. Today its time is not permitting. So let's assume the marks that you typed is 135. Accidentally you typed it. It is going to say it's a distinction, right? For a marks, the maximum you can score is 100. Let's say that's 100 only you can score. But you have scored 135 and it's an invalid marks, right? So let's say minimum marks for a subject you can score is 0, then you have scored minus 50. This is also invalid marks. So how we can make sure this can be blocked, right? So watch this. We'll make this on 150. So before doing this, we will do a range check. Range check, right? So I write a if condition here. Let me cut this code. Cut it, right? Okay. If open close parenthesis, I'm going to say marks is greater than or equal to 0 and marks is less than or equal to 100. That is the range. That can be true, that cannot be true, we don't know. Else means we say S out, invalid marks, right? If it is in this range, then you do this, your usual checking part. It's a simple code, see. That's why I cut and paste it. So you can understand that part. This is the piece I cut and paste. This program, we already had it. So I just added a small extra piece, which is this one. If marks is greater than or equal to 0, at the same time, marks should be less than or equal to 100. If it is inside that range, then you can check whether it is a distinction merit or fail. But if it is not in that range, it's an invalid input, right? So we say invalid marks. When I run this one, instead of saying your grade, it's saying invalid marks. Let's try with a negative value, minus 10. It will say invalid marks. Let's try 0. It will say fail. So it is properly and very accurately doing the part, right? Okay, you also can practice this. I'll give you the. So we will be moving on to the last part, which is for today. I'm going to teach you this lesson and then I'm going to stop that. Okay, because selection statements, then I can conclude with this example. That's why I ask around extra few minutes, right? So um, we learned about selection statements. Simply coming again, you can see if statements we have simple if with else, and if with else if. Simple if means only true we do something, false part we don't have an option. If with else, that means two sections. If you have two options, we make use of this style. When you have more than two choices, you go for if with else if. That is what you did now. And we did a modification to that code where we did a validation test also. We made sure the input is a valid one. So we used a logical AND operator and we made sure that the input is a valid one. In that case only we checked distinction merit pass or fail. Otherwise, we simply say invalid input. Okay, this is up to this point we have done. So before you do the questions, I hope you would practice the syntax very well and you will understand this one very well. Then you can start doing the questions. Right. So the last part what we discuss is going to be something called switch statements. Switch statements means if we have plenty of things to check, okay, lot of things to check, you can you can simply make use of switch statements, right? Switch statements. So I would like to code this one and explain because there is a progress by the time I'm doing the coding. So anyway, as a note set, you have it in the slide, right? Okay, right. So let's go to the program. So this is the last example we do in selection. I will say selection demo 4. Right, let's assume what we have a scenario like, there are seasons are there. This is easy to understand. That's why I'm saying there are 4 seasons are there, right? Uh, Spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Okay. So if you say first season is number one is spring, two is summer, three is autumn, and four is winter. So we ask the user to input a number like 1 to 4. According to that, we display what season it is. So we say int season, we take a variable, so assign the value 2, right? Int season, assign the value 2. So we say switch. Inside this open close parenthesis, what you have to give is a expression. It's a mathematical expression you can give. Like for example, 8 multiplied by 2 is accepted. You can do it, right? See, it's no errors given. But I'm going to directly give a variable name which is season, because season variable is already having a value. Then you have to use open close curly braces for the switch statement. That's how you do switch. You give, then you give within opening closing parenthesis, you give the variable you are checking, then opening closing curly braces. Now what we do is we write something called, we don't write if conditions, we write case labels. We write case, then we type a value. Always it need not to be 1. Okay, in this scenario I'm typing 1, need not to be always 1. It checks. I'm going to give 1, then you give colon, not semicolon, colon. What it says is, then I'm going to say spring, right? Then I'm going to write again here case 2. Let me finish this, then I'll explain you. Spring, summer, like this. I have my code done now. We'll say uh, we have a default calls also. That default means if nothing up works, then we say uh, invalid season, right? Okay, when you run this program, see what's going to happen now. Before running, I'll explain how it works. Now int season is equals to 2. So switch statement is there, switch open close parenthesis. Inside here season is representing the value 2, so switch here it is 2, right? Then we have case labels. With the case we should give a value. This value should be unique value. That means if you type 1 here, you cannot type 1 again, it will be an error. See, it says duplicate case label, right? So you can write the label only once, or unique values you have to type. Order doesn't matter, but only once you can type. Case 1 I have typed, so this 1, is it matching with this season's value? This season has the value 1. If it is so, this will be done. This is not true because it is having true 2. So it will skip this part, go to the next label. It says case, check the value 2, whether the season variable has 2. Yes, this is true. Now it is true. So it will print summer, right? And you should understand a case label when it does something like that. Okay, when it does something like that, case label, once it does that, uh, that means if the label matches with this switch part, if the label matches with the switch part, it will not check for more case labels. If the case label matches, thereafter it's not going to check for any case labels, because I told you the values that you type are unique values. So if the value is found, you don't have to again search for that, you don't have to continue search. That's the reason why it is stopping it. So for that reason, it is only executing once it is, this part is true, label. Now case 2 is there, no, case 2 is there, which is matching with season. This is true, so it will only execute statements. So it will execute this line, this is a statement, and it will execute this and execute this, as well as it will execute this. Now you will be wondering why, because there are case labels here, why it is executing everything. Because once something is matched, the case labels are skipped, it won't be checked. So I'll run this and show you. Shift F6, you can see the output as summer, autumn, winter, invalid season. So for the value is season I gave. So all these four values are getting printed. That is not correct. So let's change this to 4 or 3. When I change that to 3, now case label 1 is not matching, 2 is not matching, but 3 is matching. So once that is matching, autumn will be printed, winter will be printed, invalid season also printed. See, autumn, winter, invalid season getting printed. Suppose if this is 1, everything will be printed. So there is a problem with this, right? Okay. Now what we'll do is we will have a small line written here called a break statement. So when you introduce a break statement, I will explain you now. Here no need to write. If you execute this line, right, see, this line is not matching. Now a season variable has the value 2. So this is not matching. You don't have to worry about this. Case label 2. This is matching with season. Now what it does is it only starts to execute the instructions. So it will execute this instruction. Then it is executing the break statement. So a break statement in Java is called a jump statement. So what it does is, you can see there is a block here, open close curly braces there. So break statement is here. So it will simply come out of the block. It will come over here, right? So skipping all these things. So final thing that you will be seeing is in the screen, summer will be printed, then nothing will be there on the screen. Shift F6, there you go, summer is there correctly, it is printing this value. So this is really useful if you're handling comma box values where you have a lot of options, you want to work with them, you can make use of this. So in an upcoming program we shall use this one. For the time being, you can practice this now. Recording is done. Okay, previous versions of Java did not support strings and all here. The latest versions of Java is supporting version 8 onwards. String also supported here. Usually byte short, int long, char were supported earlier. 5 data types were supported earlier. So with the version of 8 onwards, string and other data types also supported, you can use them, right? Okay, right, just for your information, I told you that. Okay, children, that's all that we have for today, right? So as I told you, I will be posting the questions in the Edmodo section, so you can do them and then you can submit them, right? Okay, um, so that's all for today. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are concluding this part one of the selection statements, part one of the selection statement with switch statements. So Edmodo will have the tasks that you have to practice. Then upcoming class, the part two, we will do the repetition statements, which is in the next class. Okay. Then thank you very much. See you in the next video.